Hi, good afternoon. We'll begin the presentation of the session 3, Learning and Training. You have the first paper.
In this video, I will talk about the paper Virtual Playground, an augmented reality application to improve English learning. My name is Luis Pereira, a member of Voxel Labs. AR has the potential to change how we teach and learn. It can change space around us, it can give new meanings to everyday objects, and it can be very engaging because it is a very fun technology to learn and interact. AR applications can be used for many topics like storytelling, human anatomy, or geometric shapes, but their use is still very limited. They can be very time consuming to learn, or they can have a lack of freedom to create content, or it cannot be possible to provide a shared AR experience. This work will try to develop an application prioritizing teachers' necessities, using a team formed by teachers, developers, and designers. Let's see what have been said about the relation between AR and education. Education has been severely impacted by technologies. Now it is possible for teachers to create a personalized experience for each student. This is very beneficial because everyone learns in a different way. Also, AR has the potential to undermine the natural abstraction of subjects like math, physics, and chemistry, but it can also be very good for languages. AR can create scenarios that can be explored and contextualized using language, like English. Here you can see some good examples of AR applications: Shapes 3D, Wonderscope, and Anatomy 4D. We will see an overview of the methodology phase. The methodology is inspired in the design-based research. The purpose of this approach is to generate new theories and frameworks for conceptualizing learning. Here you can see the four macro phases of our process, and you can also see what was the practical approach for each one. In phase 1, we did surveys and interviews. For 2, we have a mapping session to better understand the problem based on what was given from previous phase. 2 workshops to generate possible solutions, a decision session to pick a solution, a sketch iteration to give more details to the chosen one, and finally, the development of this solution. For 3 and 4, we have the testing session with teachers and some reflections about the feedbacks given. Let's see some results. From interview and surveys, it was clear that teachers want to learn and use AR technologies, but there are some barriers to overcome, like infrastructure and time and freedom to create content, reassuring past conclusions. Now you can see a map that can help us to better understand how teachers plan and use an AR app in a classroom. Here is some photos of sketches of solutions given during the workshops. These solutions are to solve challenges identified during the mapping session. The challenge was about how might we design a learning sequence using AR in small groups. During the decision section, it was decided that the virtual playground was the best solution. It uses the most AR potentials and it can solve most of the problems mentioned by teachers, like students' dependency of the teacher, listening difficulty, students' lack of understanding the topic, competitiveness. The sketch iteration section gave more details to the chosen solution during the previous phase. So, Virtual Playground is an application that tries to combine the creative effort in storytelling and the educational potential in augmented reality technology. It can be experienced by one or more users. Here you can see a photo of a user testing the prototype. It is an Eastern theme storytelling. The feedbacks from the testing can be divided into three categories: UX and UI, technical problems, and teaching practice. Our UI was very simple because it was a prototype. It is normal that there was some complaint about it. We experienced some problems during the device communication using the Wi-Fi. Finally, for teaching practice, the teachers explained how they would use the app. Here, you can see some principles, some must-have features for our AR app that intends to be helpful for teachers and students. An offline version, an intuitive interface, and a virtual content library. In conclusion, AR can change how we teach and learn. We just have to understand how teachers and students can better use it. There are some limitations of our work, but we intend to solve it in future works. That's it. Thank you.
So now we can open for some questions. Are there some questions? I have one. Uh, do you thought about to put some kind of score to stimulate the participation of the users? How do you did you think about that to put some strategy for learners
Mhm.
to
Okay,
have
so
a good learning moment?
um, no, we for this kind of application, this is a storytelling application. So the idea is that the student could co-create stories using AR and co-create story and visualize those stories using AR. And that's why we didn't add any gamification feature to the application to be a more free play style of application that they can explore and be creative with that application without have any limits of something that they have to do or a structure that they have to follow and things like that. The teacher can, although on the other hand, the teacher can add some aspect to the application, some limitations in order to, let's say, force the student to do something that they want. For instance, the teacher can say that, okay, you have to create a story, but I read a limitation. In this story, you have to talk with everybody in your classroom. So this is a limitation that every student have to follow when they are creating story. They have to create a story in which the character have to talk with any other character in the room, or have to avoid certain topics. Like if I want to teach uh, grammar, I can just say that they cannot use, I don't know, present perfect or something like that.
And the game is finished, the project is
Actually,
finished or not yet?
Actually, it's not a game. It's more like a story creator, like an environment where you can create stories, and you
Okay,
see the story in the AR. And when you are like telling the story to your friends, you are recording that story for your own point of view.
okay. Another question? No questions. At the end, if you have time, we can talk again. Okay?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I would
Thank you,
like
Rosa.
to thank you the presentation of the paper. You can continue with the next one. Okay? The effect of virtual reality on knowledge transfer and retention in collaborative group-based learning for neuroanatomy students. Vinicius Souza will present the paper from the Federal University of Rio Grande do Sul.
Hello, everybody. I am Vinicius Souza, and I am PhD candidate at URGS in Computer Science program. Nowadays, I'm gonna talk to you about one of our works at the Virtual Reality Research Group at URGS. The title of the paper is The Effect of Virtual Reality on Knowledge Transfer and Retention in Collaborative Group-Based Learning for Neuroanatomy Students. This work is developed in collaboration with other researchers. It's my advisor, Luciana Nedel, Anderson Maciel, Regis Cooper from University of North Carolina at Greensboro, and Klaus Lodges and Eliane Schlemmer from Education Program of University of the Vale do Rio dos Sinos, Unicinos. I'm beginning to tell you that nowadays, I read there is a consensus about the contributions of virtual reality in teaching and learning process. But there is a need to explore more the effects of virtual reality using different levels of immersion and collaboration. So the main objective of this work is to investigate knowledge transfer in a virtual reality group-based learning game. And to investigate this hypothesis, we develop a virtual environment inspired in a typical neuroanatomy class, where different anatomic parts of encephalon are presented to the students. To the students learn the names of different parts, the anatomic of these parts, the relations between the parts, and the position of each part in the encephalon, and so on. And so we conducted a control between subjects with two conditions, synthetic and virtual, and we composed groups of triads with one student in a more immersive interactive condition. As you can see in these pictures, the central student actively assembled the encephalon when the classmates observe and help the colleague to resolve the challenge of assembling the encephalon as soon as possible. In this video, you can see the gaming in action, the 3D models of different anatomic parts of the encephalon, the virtual hands assembling the parts until the whole encephalon are ready. The hypothesis defined in our work was the first, the use of virtual brain allows greater learning than the synthetic brain. The second, in the virtual platform, presence is greater to the student who is in a more immersive interactive condition. And the third hypothesis, there is an effect of a student role on the acquisition of knowledge. For development of the virtual environment, we use the unit, and for the interaction in the immersive condition, we use the Oculus CV2 and the touch controllers. About the participants, we have 19 subjects, all of them undergraduate students that formed 7 teams of 3 students. And in this group, we have 6 male and 13 female. Concerned to the results, we have some different metrics used in our experiment. One of them is related to the knowledge test elaborated by the professor, responsible professor of neuroanatomy class. So we applied a knowledge test with range to from 0 to 10 score. And how you can see in this box plot, uh, there is a significant difference between the pre-test and the post-test, both for both for the synthetic and for the virtual reality conditions. In this block spot, we can compare the knowledge test results between the active and the passive students. The active was the student that actively assembled the encephalon. As you can see, no difference was found between these two roles of students, both in synthetic and virtual conditions. About sense of presence, we can see that the students that actively assemble the encephalon have had a higher score, but without statistical significance. Considering the actual COVID-19 pandemic, we conducted a brief assessment with only 8 participants to explore the possibilities of using our VR series game in remote education. As you can see in this picture, in one side, the teacher with the interactive device, and the other side, the students visualizing the 3D models and giving to the teacher or oral orientations to assemble the encephalon. As you can see in this table, the lay people, we found a great difference between the pre-knowledge test and the post-knowledge test. For the students, neuroanatomy students, a small difference was found. Unfortunately, with the limitation of the sample in our experiment in function of the COVID-19 pandemic, any of our hypotheses could be statistical validated. But although we did not identify a significant difference, the general results suggest that possibility of expanded use of immersive virtual reality research as applied to the group learning offers large-scale economic training and effective when compared to the individual immersive virtual reality. The results demonstrate good potential for using remote VR, and of course future research were needed with a larger sample and different knowledge objective is necessary. Thank you so much.
Questions? Someone have questions? I have one. Um, what do you think about to open the possibility to access this technology for health schools? Because you use the immersive device, no? Or it is support for cell phone?
Yes, we use the Oculus CV 2 for our experiment, and it's very simple for the health students to use this kind of device, because nowadays everybody, or most of people, have some experience with VR, with smartphones or another device. But we 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 really observe the motivation of the students with the virtual experience. It was very nice, and probably it kind of motivation uh, can could include people in another kind of class, another kind of didactical experience, and could make a positive reflex in knowledge acquisition.
The tests were made in the School of Health or Medicine. Who were the participants?
Sim, we have students from different undergraduate courses, physiotherapy, um, physiotherapy, psychology, and acho, physical education.
Okay, good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
No question? We have a question. How would envision the ideal dynamic to use this VR in the classroom?
Our main objective was to test the use of one device for a group of students, because we don't have so many devices for everybody, and for give an opportunity for each of the students to use the device. It could spend a long time of the class. So our intention was to experiment the use of one device, one immersive device for a group of students. When one student use the device, the other students observe by the projection and interactive with the student that assembled the encephalon orally. So our preliminary results suggest that all of students could have the same degree of knowledge acquisition.
Another question? So, thank you. Thank you, Vinicius.
Thank
We go to the next presentation of AVRA, Virtual Learning Environment with Virtual Reality Capabilities, that will be presented by Daniel Bueno Dominguez. It's a work from the
Hello.
Federal
My name is
University of São João del Rei.
Daniel, and I'll present a work called AVRA, a virtual learning environment with virtual reality capabilities. Distance learning is an educational modality which primary goal is to elude education regions where a traditional approach is not possible, In DL, the communication occurs in asynchronous and asynchronous ways, and thus a completely different interaction style between all the participants is also presented. Nowadays, distance learning was consolidated on the internet thanks to virtual learning environments. There are plenty of advantages of using it, however, we can note the lack of interaction between the students as a problem. It will not happen unless the students do that by themselves in the most cases. Thus, we carry out a research and development of an artifact to provide a better interaction between students in distance learning environments. We also explore the new technologies and concepts such as virtual worlds, virtual reality, and active methodologies. To achieve our objective, we have used design science research method. It's defined as a method to answer relevant questions for the artifact creation. The method consists in 3 cycles as described in the figure. The research starts in the relevant cycle where the requirements are listed. The next is the design cycle where the artifact and evaluation are created. And the rigor cycle provides scientific theories for the artifact and evaluation. Later, the artifact must be evaluated in a real-use scenario. We have mapped the relevant features and also performed a literature review to complete the rigor and relevance cycles. In the design cycle, we developed our artifact, Avra. Avra is a virtual learning environment for Android and desktop platforms, in which the instructor and the students can interact with each other in a virtual world using virtual reality. Each actor has his own interface and interaction style. I mean, the students interact with VR and instructors with desktops or other devices with touchscreen. The communication is completely performed with voice chat. All the user starts in the initial screen in figure A, and they need to insert their name and their role. The instructor can create a new room in his interface as shown in the figure B and C. As soon as the instructor creates a virtual classroom, his avatar appears in a corner and have a specific head-up display to manipulate the boards. The student can interact with the environment by focusing on some object for a while. This way, there is no need for any other kind of equipment, and thus can only manipulate his own avatar. For the initial room, the figure A, he can move to the portal, figure B, and enter into a created room by the instructor on the figure C. To explore the possibilities, we have created a gallery walk classroom where the students can walk around the room freely. There is only 4 boards in which the instructor can display different pictures or videos in each frame. We also can see in this image the specific head-up interface for the instructor, where he can draw in a board, load files, and also change his camera focus to any boards. Well, the experiment objective is to verify the feasibility and obtain user-perceived difficulties related to the use of the proposed application. We have used an identification questionnaire, the Systems Ability Scale, SUS, and also open-ended questions for suggestions and general feedbacks. The experiment was approved by the ethics committee and participants received no training about the application. The experiment consisted in 4 steps. First of all, the selection. We select the students from 2 groups, being the language course students and computer science students, both from Federal University of São João del Rei. The experiment took place in a physical room with the participants from the same group and also the researchers. The consent term and the identification questionnaire were answered and signed before. The instructor guided the students from each station in the gallery. The instructor guided the students from each station in the gallery walk classroom with the object to discuss the station's ideas. And in the end, the participants completed the remaining part of the questionnaire after the experience in Avra. Well, the table 1 shows the final measurement of SUS. The group 1 computer science students had a better result. This was expected considering the profile, that is, they can adapt more easily to new technologies, yet there are some design issues that we can discuss further. Regarding to open-ended questions, were listed positive and negative aspects from the participants. Immersion, interaction with students, dynamism were noted as positive aspects. Yet, the students had problems to read content in the VR environment. Low-quality images and trouble to rearrange the avatars to be able to read content were pointed as problems. The images are implementation problems and the challenge with low-cost devices we choose to use, but the possibility to rearrange in the environment could be explored as a feature. Considering the mean SUS score of all groups, the application had acceptable quality. Well, in this work, we mapped the main functionalities from VLE to Avra with the objective to provide better interaction between the students. The main goal was achieved according to the students' feedback and have a satisfactory usability according to overall SUS score. Yet, it shows room for improvement as future work. It's possible to improve the current features like better images and avatars, test other input methods, and even test with special needs users, and also add more kind of rooms. Well, it's also important to note to determine how long the class should be to avoid discomfort with the students. Well, these are references using this work, and in conclusion, I'd like to thank the institutions that made the research possible and also the participant of Anthony Wagner, who was the instructor responsible for the evaluation. If you have some questions, let me know.
Questions? We have no questions? I would like to understand some aspects of the work because it's not clear for me. The presentations are so small. The construction of the knowledge are made by the students collaborative in a collaborative way. Is that?
Yes, in active methodologies, the students build themselves the knowledge through the guidance from an instructor. I mean, they're not like traditional classrooms where the students sitting and just watching the teacher. They're collaborating and talking and building the knowledge.
And after the other students can access the knowledge that has been constructed for their colleagues. Yes, is that
Oh, please, can you repeat?
when someone constructs some knowledge, it was open for the others to access. Yes.
Yes, they talk
Okay.
in the environment and they interact each other in the environment to build the knowledge. The teacher in the environment, the teacher is guiding the students through the four boards, and
Mm-hmm.
the instructor is asking questions, making the interaction in order to create the knowledge. So
Okay.
everyone interacts and creates the knowledge collectively.
And you are planning to test it with another group of students. How are your idea to continue the work?
Well, honestly, I don't know if we have any plans to continue the to development this work since I'm working my master thesis and it's another topic. It's related to education and VR, but it's not the same thing. And I guess we reached the how do I say a limit, a limitation about the platform we used. So it would be
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
You can see the question that it's in the side.
From Galego.
Uh, yes, so I can read for you. Nail is asking, are
Yes,
you able to see?
yes, I'm
Oh,
able to
yes.
see. Yes, the teacher can draw in the board. Uh, Implemented from a technical standpoint. Okay, so the teacher, it, he just he likes drawing the texture. So the texture is painted and this paint is sent by the network to other students. So it's updated in real time. That's the main how to do the things. We used the unit to implement, so I used the Unite and AGL API to do this all the communication between the students and some of these features from the teacher.
Okay, Neil. No question? So thank you, Danielle. And
I
you
appreciate.
will go to the next presentation. It's Nail, a proposed learning content for teaching augmented reality in a classroom setting. Neil Patrick from De La Salle University.
A proposed learning content for teaching handheld augmented reality in a classroom setting is presented here. Augmented reality is an interactive experience wherein digital objects are placed on the physical environment. Augmented reality applications have gained popularity, especially when smartphones gain capable sensors such as camera and gyroscope. We see several AR works in literature from various conferences and will increase in the following years. To the best of our knowledge, there has been a lack of framework or recommendations on how to formally teach developing mobile AR applications in a classroom setting. This research aims to explore the answer to this question: how do we teach AR in a classroom or lab setting? Present a learning content called AR/VR Dev courseware that aims to teach undergraduate students how to develop augmented reality applications deployed on handheld devices. We carefully designed the lessons of the course consistent with AR techniques from literature and designed hands-on activities not typically presented in publicly available materials. The motivation for designing a custom AR courseware is as follows. First, it is unclear how to design a learning content for teaching AR. Second, to the best of our knowledge, this is one of the few works in literature that showcases a comprehensive AR learning content. Online courses, which require some fee, appear to borrow a lot of learning activities from readily available documentation, such as those from Vuforia and Unity Engine. Our courseware have a unique hands-on activities and not observed in publicly available materials. Then lastly, it is completely free. When designing the course, we took inspiration from various universities that offer AR courses as well. As seen in the table on the right, our activities are consistent with other universities. The course, AR/VR Dev, is an elective course offered to third year to fourth year BS Computer Science students enrolled in De La Salle University. A total of 76 students enrolled in the said course. We propose a lesson flow that is tailored for students to fully understand the fundamentals of developing AR applications. For example, for students to grasp the fundamentals of AR, they must understand how to control their camera during runtime, such as adjusting camera exposure and having a tap to focus mode. The lesson flow contains techniques observed from various applications of AR, such as molecular visualization and physics simulation, mainly inspired by related works. These are integrated to provide more in-depth knowledge and to expose students to the field of AR literature at the same time. Lastly, benchmarking and technical reports are performed as learning activities so students will be familiar with the capabilities and limitations of AR depending on their mobile device. Here, we show the proposed lesson flow used for teaching AR/VR Dev, which are divided into three distinct tracks. All of the tracks were tackled in the course. The first track aims to explore different techniques in understanding the physical environment in order to display virtual objects properly. The second track discusses best practices in user interaction, such as handling screen taps for placing virtual objects and using other finger gestures. The third track involves optional activities that are designed to be exploratory, fun, and engaging for the students. We quickly discuss a sample lesson for each track and the expected outputs. This lesson introduces students to how other objects aside from image markers can be used for AR. This can range from toys, figures, to decorations. The output for this lesson is a particle system where emitters must demonstrate some interaction with the physical object, such as colliding on its surfaces when falling. In this lesson, the students are taught how to develop a simple pathfinding application in an AR setting where agents must move to the location of a secondary image marker. Students must recall the technique on how to translate the 2D screen coordinates of the secondary image marker to 3D world coordinates, specifically raycasting, and use the 3D coordinates as input for the navigational mesh pathfinding algorithm. In this lesson, we introduce students to photorealistic rendering. Photorealistic rendering for augmented reality is a technique wherein virtual objects appear consistent with their physical environment. The output of this lesson is a still life photorealistic AR, where students must use their creativity in coming up with an interesting AR scenes with photorealism. The top outputs from the course are shown here, which were selected by class voting. Here, we show the individual student outputs from the lessons. A score of 40 means that the student has correctly implemented all features and resembles the AR application demonstrated during the lesson. The highest average score is obtained on 3D model interaction, followed by photorealism. These hands-on activities involve minimal coding effort and freedom to deviate from the sample outputs. The major output of this course is an AR application deployed on a handheld device, which is developed by groups of 3 to 4 students. Top AR applications developed by student groups are showcased on the left. On the right, we show which lessons were utilized in developing their projects. More discussion of this can be found in our paper. A 3-day exhibit was conducted to showcase the applications. Ubisoft Philippines participated by judging various projects in the exhibit, and the student received favorable reviews. To conclude, we aim to provide the course materials named as AR/VR Dev courseware, where educators may use as a reference for designing a similar AR course. Feel free to email the author to request for a copy. Thank you very much.
Questions? There are some questions. Neil, are you able to see the question on the right column?
I
Rafael?
see one in the so this one. So I see it. So from Rafael.
Yes, from
Uh,
Rafael.
okay. So I'll answer that. So what is the target audience for this program? It's computer science students. So they are those who are enrolled in the course are third year to fourth year students. So they can choose augmented reality course as one of their electives. Some of those chose to, for example, natural language processing and so on. So it's actually an elective course for our computer science curriculum. So the computer science program has a duration of 4 years. The course is offered for 13 weeks. So one trimester in our university is 13 weeks. The 14th week is the finals week. So for our course, the 14th week serves as the culminating output, which, as shared in the presentation, they conducted a 3-day exhibit on the 14th week. So there.
Good.
Mm.
Another question? Thank you, Neil.
Thank you.
Very good work.
Thank you very much.
So you can go to the next presentation, virtual reality system for industrial motor maintenance training from the Instituto Federal de Educação, Ciência e Tecnologia do Espírito Santo. We will have two presenters, Tainan and Bianca.
Hello, we are going to discuss the virtual reality system for industrial motor maintenance training. Our team is composed of 2 professors and 6 students, divided into technical course, engineer, undergraduate, and master students. My name is Taida, and I am an undergraduate in electrical engineer. After my presentation, you will find Bianca, who is a technician student in electrotechnics. We study at Federal do Espírito Santo, and we have a partnership with the mining company Vale do Rio Doce. This work presents the solution for maintenance training of a diesel motor used in the locomotives responsible for transportation through the Vitória-Minas Railway. The motivation for this project was the costs and time for training employees, their safety, and the possibility of prior knowledge. The model shown above is the 3D model, the one below is the real one. We can perceive great similarities between them. The system has the possibility of tutoring by supervisor and offers several resources. In each screen presenting the game, score history of all users as displayed in the figures. When a new game begins, a questionnaire is displayed to collect user data for the score history and disassemble procedure. This is done with player data panel. A list with all parts of the model is shown in the red highlight. The procedure must follow a specific order, so the first part selected when creating the procedure must be the first part to be removed in the game to win points. All the procedures created are ready to release. They will be displayed on the screen of the virtual reality game, where they can be chosen. If the process is already finished, click on the button Generate Model in the purple highlight. If you want instruction on the game or go to another environment, use the buttons highlighted in blue. The list of procedures returns the available procedures as shown in the image. The users can play in ease or traditional mode. Just on the ease mode, a panel is displayed containing the name of all the parts in the chosen procedure. For the virtual game to start, the player must be wearing VR glasses, then the instructor must select the procedure in the procedures list, and the player removes the parts in the correct order using the laser that is activated by a button present in the VR control. The images illustrate each of the controls. You can rotate the view in first person, move around the scene, pick up objects both with your hands and using the laser, rotate the objects, and view the name of the parts. In case the player forgets the controls, just rotate the reins up as shown on the picture. As said before, in the is mode, a panel is presented to the user with the name of the part to be removed at that moment. The step-by-step to remove a part in the correct way is shown in the flow chart. Then the player activates the laser, aims at the part, move it by pressing the right trigger. If the player removing the correct part, keep moving it until the marker. The marker is the year showing the figure. The simulator's scoring system is based on the following equation, where n is the total number of parts in the procedure and e is the total number of errors the player commits along the simulation.
In order to evaluate the simulator, a remote online assessment was conducted with the participants. The survey was first answered by the participants from the academic community. Later, the same survey was applied to the mining company employees. The mining company employees had more issue with the simulator than the academic community. This difference could be due to the level of background knowledge of the industrial concepts and process. As for recognizing the 3D objects, the mining company employees and the academic community found it easy or very easy to relate the real objects to its visual redemption, so it's possible to conclude that the 3D objects were suitably modeled. The results of the game interface evaluated by the mining company indicates that there was some confusion about the test at each stage, possibly suggesting interface improvement. On the other hand, most students found it easy to navigate. The difference in the results between the two groups may be because of the employees had some knowledge and expectations about the virtual reality tool presented. Regarding the ease of using the environment to create procedures, most of the employees were neutral and most of the students found it easy. During the pre-test phase, users were asked about their prior experience with games, with both groups mostly don't have. About the degree of understanding regarding the assembly process and whether the simulation was efficient, we can see an overall majority understood the process. All participants from the mining company agreed that the simulator would be effective in industrial equipment maintenance training, and the great majority of the students either agreed completely or agreed. The mining company has internal training in most maintenance sectors, including theoretical and practical training. In this training, the cost of a physical motor will be of $50,000. Training a team up to 12 employees with 32 hours of training costs a total of $2,011. This also considers the working hours the employees must take from their working day. The equipment used in a virtual industrial equipment maintenance training are an Oculus Rift by Oculus VR and a computer. The recommended specifications for using the virtual device are summarized in the table. This will be a one-time investment, since after purchasing the equipment, only maintenance and structural compensation will be needed to operate these modules. The total budget for implementing the simulation in virtual reality is summarized in the table. It can be seen that the cost of implementing a virtual reality training is lower than the external training currently carried by the mining company. The simulation will be ideal for part identification and assembly procedure training, since it allows a large number of employees per class and safety will be guaranteed within a technology laboratory. It was evident in the results that the simulator is capable of training employees in the maintenance area. As Tainan previously said in the introduction section, the investment in virtual reality training is an advantage, since it has low implementation costs, requires fewer training hours, and does not expose workers to risk and possible accidents in the external area. However, if going to the external environment for training is needed, the simulator can be used to provide previous knowledge to the trainees so that, when they arrive in the training site, they will be familiar with the process that must be performed, thus reducing the number of employees in instructor hours and, consequently, leading to lower costs. The virtual reality system presented for maintenance training was evaluated by students, beyond our specialized collaborators from the mining company. The system is a valuable practice tool for educational areas.
Thank you, Taina and Bianca. Um, is there any question? We are a little late, and I received a message that you have to run. So I will put the next presentation, and we'll do the questions at the end, okay? In a few
Okay.
moments, because
Yes, no problem.
when you are virtual, we don't have possibilities to change the schedule of the
No,
time.
it's good.
Okay?
Okay.
Congratulations. Very good work.
Thank you.
So we go to the last presentation.
Hello, I'm Isabella and I will present Augmented Reality and Medical Teaching Learning Process Content, a systematic review. This study presents a systematic review to identify approaches that use mixed or augmented reality games in the teaching learning process of medical contents, and that execute at least one preliminary evaluation with users. The justification for the research is to identify in the literature productions that have implemented games that use mixed reality or augmented reality in the process of teaching and learning content in the field of medicine. The research considered only publications in English and were chosen 7 digital bases that cover scientific, periodic, and conferences in the area of computer science and medicine. The work's evaluation was implemented through identification, screening, and eligibility. After completing these steps, we obtained 6 works as results. Half of the applications listed in this SR were developed with Unity. 2 of the studies used the Kinect motion sensor to track the user during the interactive process. However, this device was discontinued by Microsoft in late 2017. Considering the visualization interface used by selected studies, none used recent equipment, as HoloLens or Magic Leap, for example, showing an interesting field to be explored. The most discussed content with augmented reality in medicine is anatomy, revealing a lack of 3D applications for other medical specialties. All games developed in the works raised in this SR were within the category of serious games, and half of the games present are of the quiz type, which demonstrates that this type of approach is satisfactory when used in the teaching learning of medical subjects. However, it shows a possibility to develop solutions with a focus on other game genres. About the game assessment, 5 studies evaluated the application using questionnaires prepared by themselves. About the numbers of participants involved in evaluation tests, the evaluated approaches have outlier differences from each other and did not demonstrate how the sample size was defined. The selected works do not contain or do not mention technical documentation made before the development of the game. A documentation helps game designers to manage the development of a game. The selected studies point to a tendency of the use of augmented reality serious games for teaching and learning anatomy, as well as the use of discontinued devices or smartphones. There was a shortcoming in the use of methods for assessing the usability of interfaces for this specific type of application. In this context, it's relevant to develop augmented reality serious games that use visualization and tracking research of the user's actions and mixed environments, addressing new themes. A feature solution can bring classroom concepts even closer to everyday practice, becoming a strong tool to support teachers. The application must have its ability evaluated from methods and instruments that guarantee a solution according to the teaching purpose. Now I'm ready to answer your questions. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Isabella. And we have time only for a small question, if someone have, because we are late.
Thank you.
Is there any question? You can put your question in the Wove environment, because we can access and make a conversation about the works and the space. Okay. Thank you for all presenters, and all works were great. And see you later. Thank you, Isabella. Bye.